Okay, we're on air.
So, welcome to Mixing and Materials. I have Anne and Mattias here with me today. Anne, where are we at and why are you dressed like this? What's going on?
Great question, Stacy. I'm so glad you asked. I am channeling my cowboy best because we're at Petersen Conference in beautiful Laramie, Wyoming. Mattias, it's your first time with us here at Petersen.
It is my first time. It was extremely complicated to reach this place. I'm from Heidelberg in Germany. It took me 24 hours to come. So yesterday I wanted to enjoy steak and beer, but at the end I enjoyed bed and I was sleeping for 9 hours. But today, as you can see, my skin is perfect, so I hope I look 10 years younger than yesterday.
You look rejuvenated.
I will say you do look a little more rested today than yesterday.
Yes, I couldn't follow all the conversations. It was a little bit complicated, but now the sun is shining, everything is fine, and I have these beautiful people next to me. So I'm in a good mood.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
I'm wearing sunglasses and a hat. Guess why?
Why?
It's sunny and hot here in Laramie, and I'm protecting myself against the sun for safety.
For safety?
Isn't that our topic today? That's our topic today. I'm going to take it off because there's no sun here. I don't need my sun safety glasses. But when we go outside again, I'm going to put them on because I'm going to be protecting myself, right?
Yeah, I think it's a great topic
Yeah.
to talk about safety. First, though, I'd like to talk a little bit about your backgrounds and how you got into this industry. Mattias.
Oh, that is interesting. I'm originally an aircraft engineer. I studied aircraft design in a university in Germany. And obviously I landed on the road because asphalt is just such an interesting topic. And of course, a lot of big laboratories or big customers from infraTest are airports. And since there is a little bit of a connection. And I'm doing this for 20 years now, and I'm still fascinated about the huge different amount of people who are working in this industry and the huge problems which are potholes. We do have potholes in Germany, huge ones, of course, we do have. And to see all these different laboratories and provide these different kind of machines to the industry worldwide is just a fascinating topic, and I love it. I still love it. I will stay for the next 20 years.
Very nice. And how about you? I know you can you share a little bit how you met Mattias, how you ended up at being in the industry and.
Yeah. Well, Stacy, you're one of the first people I met in this industry. I don't think I'd be here today if you and I hadn't met.
Aww,
remember, it was
I do
ASTM
remember.
in Florida. I think we sat next to you at ASTM.
Yes, you did.
And we were trying to.
See,
You remember?
I do remember.
Yeah.
It was extremely
funny. So 10 years later, right, we're sitting back here as we did at ASTM, and I think you were at ASTM conference. You were looking for automated extraction unit for your laboratory at the time because you wanted safer extraction options for your team. I think that's what your goal was.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
So we were at ASTM and we were trying to figure out if we could get a safer option specified, because at the time, everything you had to use solvents. They were just fumes in the lab. It wasn't a great environment because the safeties in construction labs is kind of an overlooked feature. I think we've talked about this a little bit, and I know you talked about it at Napa.
That's right.
And you showed some pictures. Could you talk a little bit about kind of what you had brought up at Napa mid-year last week? And
Sure, yeah. We were at mid-year meeting last week in Louisville, Kentucky, and we had a conversation about laboratory safety and solvent safety because this is a very hot topic these days and has gotten everyone riled up for good reason, because solvent safety is overlooked, I think, a little bit in this industry, and just lab safety in general. I think safety permeates everything we do in construction, from worker safety out in the field while paving. It's constantly in conversation. And then when it comes to lab safety, I think people just kind of drop the ball a little bit.
Yes.
And so the new EPA rulings, I think, kind of reignited the fire
Exactly,
under
right?
this topic. But you were way ahead. 10 years ago, you were way ahead. So kudos to you for that,
Thanks.
for starting that.
Talking a little bit about the history of where we come from when it comes to safety issues in handling solvents in the laboratories. Some 25 years ago, so the common method in Europe was an open, let's say, open extraction machine where the solvents were openly pumped into open sieves, and so we had a lot of fumes of solvent into the laboratory, and you need a huge amount of solvent during this process, because a lot of was dripping out on the floor and whatever. And this was the basic idea of the founders of infraTest, to say we want to have a closed machine who reduces all the risk which is related to this open solvents in a completely closed machine. And this was the starting point. So the automated extraction within a closed system is relatively old. It's 25 years old, and since that time we were invented this closed asphalt analyzer, as we call it, and the main idea is just to have all the dangerous things inside the machine. Compare it with electricity. You have electricity around you everywhere in your laboratory. Electricity is dangerous, but you found a handling system to control it. Nobody's talking about it anymore, but if you just put your finger into the plug, you're maybe dead. Don't kill me.
At Napa,
Dangerous.
At Napa, I saw something. You were really passionate and animated at our meeting, and I just want to go back to a little bit more. Why is this so near and dear to you, and why do you feel so passionate about this topic of safety with the fumes and the asphalt chemistry?
Yeah. Well, I actually get it a lot from this guy. Having worked with a German company for the past 10 years and having the opportunity to travel to several university laboratories, contractor laboratories around Germany, I was always very impressed about how seriously they take safety in everything from solvent handling, of course, but even noise protection. All the proctors are in rooms with padding, so they take noise protection seriously. I think decibel indicators are everywhere, so if a machine is making too much noise, ear protection is provided, eye protection is always thought of, pinch protection. So safety is top priority.
Don't forget dust.
Dust control as well. Yes. So actually the labs are always spotless and dust free. All the dusty, like LA abrasions, are with additional protective cabinets to prevent dust, and have fume hoods and walk-in hoods everywhere. And I was very, very impressed several times that we visited. And unfortunately, I didn't see it in all the labs here in the US. Mm-hmm. And as I said, I saw the ball has been dropped a little bit in this, on this topic here, but I'm seeing that laboratories want to be at that high level of safety. So that's why I think they just need industry to get us there.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
I think it makes perfect sense, because high level of safety in a level means high level of quality, and that's what we do. We do quality control. We do research on a completely different. I say it again, level, and I think both are very, very important. These things have to come together to have an outstanding standard, which we need.
Yeah. So I think one great thing about the asphalt industry is when we know better, we do better. And I think all of the owners want to know where they can improve. So I think this is a great topic to continue to talk about. So what can somebody do who has a lab and they have their safety program? These companies have great safety programs, right? They're out there trying to make sure that their people are, like you said, safe on the road. They have all these other things they're trying to do. Like, what can they do to take that next step? Where are the resources that they need?
Yeah, I would say every time I've gone through safety training, or I've seen safety training done, most of the time it looks like, here's a video on safety, take a look at it, you're now trained on safety. And I think it needs to be taken a step further where companies have hands-on training on safety in the laboratory so that people are not afraid, like if you're dealing with solvents, you're not afraid of the solvents, that you are trained on the PPE, on how to wear it and how to use it properly and how to use gloves, how to use appropriate gloves for various things that you're doing. If you're touching hot things or you're touching things with solvent, it's different types of gloves. So again, hands-on training that has to happen, not just a safety video that you see and that's it. So kind of step it up a notch.
Everybody at the end must be aware where the dangerous things are. So I'm a little bit older, so I come from a world, I will remove your hat for a second, I come from a time where people in the summer put solvent into the hat, put it on there because it is cooling. If you have trike or you have tetra or whatever, you have it there, you have a cool hat. Can you imagine that? Things like that happened some 20 years ago.
I don't want your solvent hat on my head.
Oh my goodness.
That's for you. You keep that. You keep that hat. And then wash your hands with the solvent too.
Washing hands with solvent, washing clothes, washing shoes, things like that. Yeah. So that's something which is dangerous, but people weren't aware of it. That means there was a huge misunderstanding in this. Where should I put it? I put it there. There was a huge misunderstanding in what solvents really can do with your body. Now, fortunately, now we are 20 years later. We know about the dangers, how dangerous they are. But knowing the devil, we can handle the devil in a way that we don't have any negative effects or impacts on the people who are working on the laboratory and working with this type of procedures.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that we're talking about this at the Petersen Asphalt Research Conference because this is kind of the premier asphalt chemistry conference. And as a chemist myself, you have specialized training for labs. So in the construction industry, we don't have a lot of chemists or people who have actually had hands-on lab safety training.
Okay.
So I think it'd be really great for the industry to kind of get a better understanding of lab safety training and how to bring that directly to their labs, from everything from burns to the solvents. What else do you think we need to be focusing on from a safety perspective, and how is infraTest continuing to move forward with what some of the things you're doing?
The more complicated let's say the asphalt is getting, now we have, rubber modification, we have polymers, we have waxes, we have so many different parts in the asphalt now. That means that the process in the laboratory is getting also more complex. That means that the machinery you have in the lab to help these people to work safely has also, they also had to get improved. And as less handwork you have, the better it is. And you can focus on other things, on more smart things to do into the laboratory. That means the development of machines in the laboratory never stops. Never stops. It never stops.
Yeah. I would say focus on automation and less handling of the solvents when we're talking about solvents. As I said, additional safety protocols when it comes to noise protection different compartments or different padding of the equipment to prevent dust and solvent exposure, additional seals and so on. So I would say we're also developing a non-hazmat solvent to be used in extraction. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, I'm excited to hear about that.
End of the summer. So our engineering team is working day and night on that topic.
Day.
At night you drink beer, I get it, I get it.
You need a break.
Which is also a kind of solvent.
It's a kind of solvent, yeah, it's the good kind.
In chemistry, we say it's the solution.
It's a solution to a lot of problems.
Exactly.
But not in the workplace. Well, actually, Stacy, tell me, with your chemical background, what do you see as we should be doing, maybe actually from a manufacturer point of view, when we train people to use equipment that's using the solvent? Is there something in our training that we could improve to bring that extra level of safety to our customers?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And as an equipment manufacturer, I would really like to see bringing all the safety equipment as part of the package.
Yeah.
And then also helping people source it. Because one thing, especially with some of the solvents we work with, people have no idea what the impacts are long term. So they're not going to notice an effect over 3 to 10 years, but in 20 years something may go wrong. Some of these are carcinogens, there's different things that can happen. So making sure they have the proper equipment up front, and then also talking to upper management and making sure that they understand what they're dealing with, I think is really important. So I know those are big asks, but I think as equipment manufacturers, that's really a way you could level up and kind of differentiate yourself from other people, to showing that you really want not only to sell your equipment, but to use it appropriately and safely.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm so passionate about this topic, because I know we sell equipment that has a dangerous chemical as part of it, as an important part of it, and I want to make sure that safety is at the forefront, and like you said, the communication lines are open and everyone understands kind of what they're getting into, but that it's not an impossible task to get to that level of safety where all your employees can go home at night and feel comfortable about the work that they're doing with these potentially dangerous chemicals that we've managed to contain in a closed system, and that the laboratory has proper ventilation, and that the employees have proper PPE to be comfortable in using all these solvents, and to provide good quality testing and good quality asphalt, right? That's why we're all here, is to have that next level of quality and have amazing roads and no potholes.
I have two things to say. One of the reasons why we participate in a conference like that, communication. Communication is everything. Without the impact or the information from the industry, companies like us are nothing, because how should we know? We are mechanical engineers. We design machines according to your needs. You must tell me what are your needs, then we can design it. And the second thing is training. Constant training is the most important thing. We all know that we forget things in daily routine. Daily routine is dangerous for everything. We want to have this constant safety trainings. We should have them as often as we can afford, that everybody is aware of what we are doing. And that leads to safety, to quality, to improvement of the process, and to innovation. These things are most important to us. And I would love to discuss everything with you anytime, because that is the basic thing we have to do. We have 45 design engineers in the meantime at infraTest, which is a huge number. And they all want to work something, they all want to design something. And for that we need your help constantly, every day. Please, do it, help us.
What excites you about the industry? What are you working on do you think is going to be the next big thing that you're excited to be in the industry for the next 5 to 10 years?
People. It is. To be honest, I'm lucky. infraTest is making business in 100 countries, and so I have the honor to travel a lot and meet a lot of different personalities, and what I really enjoy is that I would say 98% of the asphalt industry worldwide are really focused, nice people with a good personality. The 2% which you don't want to meet, you just can avoid. You have them everywhere, but the huge number of people are extremely nice, and that is something which is still, after 20 years doing it, still one of the basic things which I really love. Meet the people, talk to them, get the ideas, and share it with the team at home talk to them and see what we can do and what we can improve. You must imagine that from an idea you pick up on a conference like here in Park, and you bring these ideas home. You discuss it with your people in the factory, and you think about how can we design it, what can we do, and maybe a year later you have a finished machine standing there, and makes me so proud because you had the discussion, you had the contact to the customers, and 1 year later there is something which you physically can touch. It's there, and it's wow. Most of the time it's wow. I love it, and you bring it back, and the people say, how can they do this? And a question which I sometimes cannot answer because how can we do it?
It's your superpower.
It's there, and
From the napkin to the
and that is something which I love. I'm an engineer. I love to do things like that. I want to make things happen. I'm not this. I talk a lot, but I'm not that guy to want to discuss things too much. I want to make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. Thank you for being with us on Mixing Materials at the Petersen Asphalt Research Conference. That's a wrap for Mixing Materials. Keep learning, keep building, and see you next time on the Road to Knowledge.